Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You already know who it is. It's your boy, the NatureBoy. Woo! Back with another video for you guys here today. And today, I just got back from the theaters and I just got back from watching One Piece Film Red. Let me just say, I've been waiting for this for so long. I think we all have. And for me, I live in Canada and it finally just dropped here in Canada. It was actually, the date is scheduled for it to drop tomorrow, but I just checked the nearest theater near me and it had one for tonight. So I was like, let's go. Let's do this. So went there, watched it, and it was amazing. Way better than I thought it would be. And I had high hopes for it. You guys know me. I'm a massive Shanks fan. I'll be the first to admit it. And this movie was even better than I thought. So I wanted to sit down here today with you guys and do a review. This video is going to contain all kinds of spoilers if you have not watched the movie. So unfortunately, if you have not watched it, I recommend you do not watch this video until you've seen the movie. This video is for people who have already seen the movie or don't mind being spoiled on virtually everything, to be honest. So with that being said, let's get into the review. So first of all, I want to talk about the plot. The plot was very interesting. I think the plot was something that I didn't think was going to be focused on too much, since it's about Shanks and hype and stuff like that. But the plot was actually one of the better plots of One Piece movies, I would say, with the stuff with like Elgia or Elegia, however you pronounce it, and Gandon, like the former leader of it, and Uta and the Tota Musica and all that stuff and how that played out. I thought it was very interesting. The one thing I would say about the plot, though, the one downside I guess you could say, is I think once they try to like set this tone that Shanks kind of like screwed Uta over, it was very obvious where it was going to go from there. I personally thought it was going to be revealed that Gandon is the one that killed everyone on the island and manipulated Uta into thinking it was Shanks. But it was kind of weird too, because you could see Shanks just sailing off. So Gandon would have screwed him over and then he's just sailing off. But even though it was revealed that it was the whole Tota Musica thing and all of that, that was still different. That was unique. So credit to that. But I think it was still kind of like very obvious. I would have wished they would have set up a plot that was more believable than Shanks being that evil. But other than that, I think the plot was fantastic, to be honest. And speaking of Shanks, one thing I really loved about this movie is I think with how much Shanks has been shown in the series, we've all been accustomed to seeing very little of Shanks. And so I came into this movie with very little expectations of Shanks' screen time. And although it wasn't a crazy amount, I was absolutely surprised with how much screen time he got. Once he showed up, he didn't leave. He was all the way there to the end, and he got a decent amount of screen time. I think much more than a lot of us thought. And not just Shanks, but Uta as well. Great stuff from Uta. I personally thought I wouldn't like Uta that much as a character, just because she just seemed like this character that just sang all the time. And I kind of had a feel, and I haven't read any spoilers except besides like the Powers spoilers, but nothing of the actual film. But I kind of had the feeling, based off the trailer alone, that Uta was going to be the main bad guy. Because if you guys remember, there's a part in the trailer where Luffy's angry at her and he says something like, Shanks won't sit back and let his daughter do this. So I think that already set up the tone that she was going to be the bad guy. But she was actually a fantastic character. I think for movie characters, Uta caught me off guard because I didn't care for Bullet. I didn't care for, I already forgot his name. To be fair, it's a complicated name, but that guy from Film Gold, I loved Zephyr. Shiki is not necessarily a film character. He's part of the canon series. But usually, for me, I don't care much for film characters. I would say she's one of the best film characters, if not the best One Piece film characters, for me personally. So I was caught off guard with that. I thought everything about her personality was cool. Maybe it's coming from a place of bias because she has a relationship to Shanks. But really, I just loved her character. Let me know what you guys thought. Now let's get into the fighting. Shanks fighting was pure hype. Absolutely hype. Him fighting with Kizaru. I mean, I wish we got to see a little more of that. But even just a little bit that we saw, it was great to see Shanks get the respect that he deserves. And I think knowing the fact that we know that Oda has worked more closely with this movie than any other movie prior, I think it was important for him to make sure that Shanks was shown to be a top guy. Like, as soon as he came out to Kizaru and just put his sword to his neck, he was like, hands up again. And Shanks said, what was it he said? This is a family quarrel. I would hope you would stay out of this. And that was it. And let's just talk about how many times in the movie Kizaru put his hands up. we were debating whether or not he was trolling when he did it at Marineford, but now he did it like 4 or 5 times in this movie. He did it to Shanks, he did it to Beckman. I feel like he did it to Beckman multiple times. He's doing it all over the place. So either he trolls all the time, or in my opinion, these guys are just that good because their powers in the movie were insane. I mean, let's forget about Shanks. Beckman he turned his hand into hockey and just caught bullets. He just caught bullets with hockey in his hand. So this definitely makes me think that he uses hockey bullets, because if regular bullets are a joke like that to him, he's not going to be using those. That's not going to be his main source of fighting. So I definitely think Beckman coats his bullets with hockey. And man, the art style of the movie. The art style was amazing. I mean, some of the characters looked very different, like Shanks and the red-haired pirates. They had a different art style, but I loved it. And usually, I'm not a big fan of change. I like things like the way they usually are already. But I loved a little change in the art style in this movie. It was fantastic. I also love the character designs. Like, we saw some of the character designs with the new character designs with Admiral Akainu and the other admirals. I think Fujitora had a sick design as well. Akainu's was amazing. It was like black instead of red. The Straw Hats had great designs. The red-haired pirates all had different outfits. It was great designs, great outfits all around. Usually that's what we see with movies, but this time was just, they stepped it up a notch in my opinion. And honestly, one of my favorite moments in the entire movie was the Usopp and Yasopp synchronization. I thought that was brilliant. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it didn't even click to me that Usopp and Yasopp were both there until they showed that moment where Usopp got his observation hockey and he noticed Yasopp. And Yasopp's just like, "You finally noticed, you idiot?" Before that, I didn't even notice that they were both there. Whereas you always notice Shanks and Luffy. For some reason, in this moment, I forgot about Yasopp and Usopp. But also, speaking of Yasopp, well, speaking of the red-haired pirates, when Katakuri showed up, first of all, how many fantastic characters showed up? We got Katakuri, we got Lucci, we got Fujitora, Kizaru, Akainu, Shanks, Big Mom, a little teaser of Big Mom there. I love that Oven and I'm blanking on her name. The Mirror Girl were both a part of it, and they were teaming up with the Straw Hats, along with Bluno. Khalifa was kind of weird, because she was like, not with Bluno, but not with the other Marine. She was just kind of like on her own, standing there. And there was even a moment where Shanks landed next to her, and it was just those two there. It's kind of weird, but to see Kobe, Law, I wasn't expecting to see Law. I was expecting to see Bart, for sure. But there were a lot of characters I was not expecting to see, and I thought that was great. That was fantastic. The Gorosei, fantastic. But the part where Katakuri tries to tell Shanks, he uses his future sight, or his advanced observation hockey, and he's like, "Hey, I can sense them." Or maybe it was just great observation hockey, because Usopp and Yasopp did the same thing. But he uses his observation hockey, and he tries to like tell Shanks, "Hey, this is what they're doing in the moment." And Shanks is just like, "This guy's cute." Yeah, okay, don't worry, buddy. We know. You're not the only one that can use observation hockey. And then I think one of the red-haired parts makes us like a smirk remark, saying that like his is not even that good, where he's like, "I think he wasn't calm enough as much as they were." And Shanks is like, yeah, but I do appreciate you telling me anyways. Thanks though. Like, these guys are the hockey masters just off of that alone. And that's observation, not even conquerors. But yeah, Usopp and Yasopp teaming up together in perfect synchronization. One of the best parts, where they were saying left leg, right arm, mid-center, perfect synchronization. And I think either it's going to be a teaser of them fighting, or some kind of union between those two in the actual series in the future. And I just love to see those two together. Really love to see it. But the highlight of the film, hands down, has got to go to one moment. Shanks and Luffy dealing the ultimate blow at the same time. Shanks in the reality side, Luffy in the dream world at the exact same time. And if you guys watch the movie, you know, but they're showing them, and at least that's what it looked like to me at first. I gotta rewatch it. I'm going off memory here. It was like Gear 4 in Shanks, and the faces kept changing back and forth. But by the end of it, for like a split second, it was Shanks in Gear 5. And that was very interesting to me, because, to be honest, I liked that. But I thought that they were either not going to show Gear 5, which is what I thought. They wouldn't show it. Or they would show it, and since they're showing it, they're already thinking, well, we're going to be showing it, so people are going to know this movie is for manga-only readers, so we might as well go all out with it. But I think because it's not even animated yet, maybe they don't know what to do with it in animation wise, so to speak. So I like what they did there, where they just sent a little teaser to where even if you're an anime only, sure, you see a little bit of it, but A, it's missable. It's definitely missable. And B, even if you don't miss it, you don't necessarily know what it is. So it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. But it was hype to see. Absolute goosebumps. Just to see Shanks and Luffy beat the same person at the same time, but in different worlds so they don't see each other. And then once again, Luffy passes out. Shanks helps him get to his ship, and that's it. But the end of the movie, did Uta die? That was the one thing I was confused about. It seems right now, I just came back from the theater, so I'm like, this is all fresh in my head. I just finished watching it no more than 25, 30 minutes ago. But I'm like 85% sure Uta died because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the scene where Zoro is pointing to Luffy's pointing at the red-haired pirate ship, you see them and it looks like they're standing around kind of like a coffin covered in a flag, like their flag or something. Like they're paying respects to something. And we know that Uta kept eating the wake mushrooms, and those things were going to kill her sooner or later. Kobe kept mentioning it throughout the movie that sooner or later those mushrooms were going to kill her. So it seemed to me like she died, and that's crazy. I mean, it explains her not showing up again in the series, being as important as she is, being Shanks' daughter and one of Luffy's childhood friends. Hell, he knew her before he knew Ace and Sabo, so you got to get rid of her somehow. But that was just, if you are going to kill her, I guess that's how you do it. You don't necessarily say she's dead, and you kind of hint at it. I feel like half the theater didn't even notice, or 75%, to be honest. But that caught me off guard. That was definitely shocking. And Uta's powers, man. Uta's powers are so OP. That's got to be one of the best outfits in the series. Are you kidding me? She has the Sing Sing fruit, I think it was called. And it's kind of like, again, juicy. You know what it reminded me of? For you Naruto fans, it reminds me of the main plot of Naruto. The movie is basically her trying to create an infinite Tsukuyomi, and that's what her devil fruit is. So she's basically Madara, creating an infinite Tsukuyomi, where, let me get back to One Piece language, because not everyone watched Naruto, where she eats this fruit, and as soon as she sings, whether you see it or you hear it, so you could be watching it on a monitor or you could be live, you're out just like that, and you're in her own dream world, and your real body is laying down and asleep. So literally from the moment, the very beginning of the movie where she started singing, the Straw Hats were already out. So when Luffy flew up to her and introduced himself to her, he was already out. That was already fake. That was the dream world. That's crazy. That's got to be one of his best powers, and it seemed like no one had a counter to it, because even the admirals had to put on like glasses and stuff. When Shanks came, it was different, but I don't think she tried to sing when Shanks was there. She was already like, it was already like the end phase, and she was kind of like broken down already. But that was amazing. And if that fruit ever gets in the canon manga, oh man, that's going to be an amazing fruit. That's going to be hard for anyone to deal with. So that's the review of the movie for me, guys. Final thoughts. Personally, I haven't seen all the One Piece movies, but I've seen a lot. I've seen the main ones, the best ones. Z, Strong World, all the recent ones as well. Stampede, Gold. And to me, this was the best One Piece movie. Again, I'm not going to lie to you guys, there's a little bit of bias here, but even removing the bias, I just thought this movie was fantastic, amazing. I'd give it a 10 out of 10, solid 10 out of 10, and just absolutely amazing, yeah. Let me know what you guys thought of the movie, whether you liked it. Was it better than Z? Because I feel like Z is the standard right now. For me, Z is the standard, and I think this beat Z. So let me know what you guys think. Film Red or Film Z? And with that, yes, I'll see you guys later on this week with another banger video. And until next time, guys, I'll see you. Take care. And I just want to mention one last thing as well. We all know now that One Piece is set to end in 3 years. Maybe it'll go a little bit longer, who knows, but it's really starting to look like it's going to end really soon. And usually we tend to get movie releases every 3 years. So the whole time I was watching this movie, as I was enjoying it, I just couldn't help but think there's a very good chance that this is the last One Piece movie we ever get. Or at the very least during One Piece's actual run. And then maybe when it's over, we wait a few years and Oda drops something special. Maybe it goes outside of Oda's hands, who knows. But this might be the last actual film we get of One Piece. So that was an interesting thought as well. I think this is something we should all be thinking about. We probably have this one, and maybe we have one more right towards the end of One Piece, right before it finishes. We have one more. Who knows? So for me personally, as you guys know, Shanks being one of my favorite characters, basically my favorite character in the series. What better way to get closer to the end of the series and one of the last few films than with the GOAT himself, our GOAT, Red Hair Shanks.